Will we completely ever understand the impact that dreams have in our waking life? Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, and today is one of my favorite days, like many other days, where I get to talk to independent filmmakers about their movies. I am really happy you're here to join me in that conversation. Before we talk to Jurian Isabelle about his movie God of Dreams, real quick reminder, share this video. Share this video. Our mission, Film Threat's mission, is to support emerging up-and-coming filmmakers and support their projects, because you can give your money to Hollywood and that's fine, but I think it's really important to discover new independent films, especially independent filmmakers that take a lot of risks, like with this movie we're about to talk about very shortly. Another thing, like this video and share it. That it helps our YouTube channel, and support Film Threat by picking up, I don't know, maybe a Film Threat t-shirt. They're awesome. You can get it at shop.filmthreat.com. Check it out. Lots of stuff there. Our t-shirts, as I like to say, they cure nudity on contact. So check that out. But today I'm excited to have on the director of God of Dreams, Jurian Isabelle. Jurian, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Duran.
Oh,
You
right.
almost had it.
You just told, like, Duran.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate it. And you've got your sort of hijacking a studio as we speak today for a little show.
Yeah, we have a nonprofit organization that we teach kids, like some cleaning we have to do back here.
Right. Yeah. I've been there. But tell me about where this film came from. I happen to personally love independent sci-fi. I think in sci-fi, because what's interesting about science fiction is it's a way to explore ideas in kind of a comfortable space where you can, you can deal with issues and topics that some might consider uncomfortable, but you're doing it in a science fiction world. So you're not directly talking about, and your film does that. It's about a world where people are forced to, take a pill that prevents you from dreaming and sort of takes away your dream life. I think that for our psychological health, you can look this up. If a lack of sleep is one of the worst things you can do to your body.
Sleep deprivation, exactly. Yeah. I done some research on it.
Yeah. So tell me about like some research, because obviously there's some scientific truths to, the premise in your film. It's a world, and it's a world where there are people in the underground that are rejecting this concept that, we're not allowed to dream. Why are we not allowed to dream? And I think it has to do with, I think dreaming actually impacts our mental health in a dramatic way. It helps us deal with issues subconsciously that are difficult to deal with in our waking life. But tell me where the concept came from.
Well, exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head about one of the cool things I love about science fiction is that you are allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to have thought-provoking discussions about topics that you normally would not have in everyday life with people. After you watch it, it kind of opens up this whole kind of Pandora's box of like, oh, what was that about? Or what do you think they were trying to say with this? Or what do you think? So I think in this film, God of Dreams, it's a lot of that going on, and I think you really experience it when you do those things, when you engage, when you ask questions, when you allow yourself to take this journey, which I feel like is a spiritual journey. I'm a spiritual person, so to answer your question, I was kind of like in this kind of meditative research space where I was really trying to just connect with. We just finished a film called Candy, and I was really trying to figure out my next film, like, what do I really want to make? What do I really want to say? And I really turned inward. And I said, well, like, I'm a really spiritual person. I have prophetic dreams a lot, and I've done research on dreams before. So I kind of went that direction with it. And it kind of, like, downloaded. Like, it just came so fast. And I wrote, like, the script, like, in maybe 3 days, like, all 90 pages. So it was kind of freaky. It was kind of freaky.
Well, and then you get into this sort of dystopian. It almost reminded me of THX 1138,
Oh yeah, George Lucas. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, with those, authoritarian outfits, the sort of
Hmm.
faceless, automatons that are,
Yeah.
you know, uh, you know, for raging their force upon the public. I mean, there's some scenes in this that are pretty hard to watch, like pretty harrowing in terms of the violence and
Thank you.
in
Thank
the
you.
film. I mean, it just, y- I mean, you know, that's why I think science fiction is such a great way to deal with this, right? Like
Yeah.
it's because there's so much going on in our real world that's
Yeah.
pretty terrifying. That science fiction's like this place where you can deal with those issues. Another thing that I learned about dreaming too. Do you know? Have you ever heard of lucid dreaming?
Absolutely. So that
Okay,
was kind of like I was trying to
yeah,
decide like which direction this movie was going to go in. When I was like, I went through like this whole kind of dream because again, like I have like a lot of kind of prophetic dreams, and so like when I was younger, I used to do like a lot. When I was younger, I used to like do like a lot of research into like lucid dreaming and like what dreams mean and all that. But this I kind of turned more in the spiritual aspect of it. It still has those elements in it, and I'm a huge lover of sci-fi, like Ray Bradbury. Again, you mentioned George Lucas, THX. I love David Cronenberg. Contact is like one of my favorite movies of all time with Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey. Oh my god, I love that movie. But I kind of like reached back and just like I was like, what do I really want to say? Like in creating this world, like what does it look like? And that was like the most exciting part is actually we weren't supposed to shoot this film independently. Like we had did some work with this company. I won't say the name because that won't be very nice. But they ended up pulling out, and at the last minute, we had this big huge budget, and it was like, okay, what do we do? And my friend Joe Langford, who was like in the midst of all this kind of like craziness that was going on, was like, I'm gonna help you, and we did the impossible. We had an amazing cast. My brothers, who have always been there, helped, and it was really it was like an experience I'll never forget. Like and I think you kind of get that when you watch the film. Like it feels like you kind of tapping into something beyond just the film. I don't know. Did you get that? Like when you were watching it?
it felt very like like sort of tapped into your lizard brain, the
Yeah.
kind of things that you react to. Do you know what I'm saying? And what I was going to say about lucid dreaming, that you can like actually lucid dream where if you take chocolate before you go to bed, if you actually like right before you go to bed you eat chocolate,
Hmm.
you actually have the most intense dreams. I'm talking about like,
Really?
yes, pure chocolate.
I
Like,
didn't know that.
okay, so eat some chocolate before you go to bed, and then just like you'll have, but lucid dreaming is
Everybody watching, we're not responsible for what you dream.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But lucid dreaming I love because you can kind of control the dream in a sense, but
Hmm.
like your movie had aspects of that because it really gets into like things that are sort of in our primal lizard brain that are
Hmm.
fears,
Yeah.
chase scenes, fear of death, fear of
Hmm.
like, and then also the film is really clever. I actually don't want to give I don't want to give some stuff away, but there's things are not what they seem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So I love that aspect of it because, you know, as an indie filmmaker, you're not trying to compete with the big budget sci-fi movies.
Right.
But what
Right.
what you have at your disposal and what you pulled off so well was just using ideas. And I think
Yeah.
that's the most powerful sci-fi. You mentioned Ray Bradbury. I'm a huge fan of Ray
Oh.
Bradbury.
Oh my God.
And his
The man.
or his movies, his stories are not like big in terms of like the spectacle element, but they're big
Hmm.
in terms of ideas. And I feel like that's what you really went for in this film. Can you talk about how like your cast, which I thought was great, by the way?
Oh,
I mean,
thank you. Yeah, they were amazing. Like the places
they
they
were
had to
great.
go, like in such limited. Like we shot the whole movie in 12 days, and it was in the middle of like tornado season here in Alabama. So it was
Oh my god.
unbelievable tension and like I don't want to say anxiety because it was almost like we were just kind of like it was meant to happen, but the cast like really went in and like did some amazing like I feel like emotional performances when you're watching this. Almost I don't know, some of it was almost kind of like heartbreaking, especially like I feel like if you're a creative individual or a person that kind of like thinks outside of just like mainstream thought, like you just see bits of yourself like in all the characters, and you like, you know, I kind of rock with what she's saying, or I kind of get, I might not
Yeah.
go to the lengths that he or she is going, but I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's kind of cool about it. And yeah, I feel like it explores a lot of different ideas of just socioeconomic, but I feel like the core of it is not necessarily how different we are, but really on like some type of, you could say, psychological level or a spiritual level or however you want to look at it, how we all connected and how important it is for each person to really fight for what they believe in, you know, with their dreams. And I think in the film, it's kind of spoken metaphorically and tangibly, but just like how important it is, like, to really fight, go for what you believe in, and like fight for it. You know.
It just seemed so much more relevant today, especially with, what's happening in Canada and whatnot. When
Hmm.
that situation, when you see a government that, you know, we maybe once thought was benevolent, like going down a dark path. And I feel
Yeah.
like your movie really sets that up. There's another thing you do that I thought was really great, where you have like the news and these decrees on this
Mhm.
like wall, like in public, so people are just sort of going about their business, and then some big, thing. I thought that was really cleverly done.
Thank you, thank you. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of what I was most like. The thing about like creating the world was like, okay, what would it look like? Like, what is like not so far from where we are that you
Mhm.
don't bite? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I feel like that's kind of like really where we are right now with media in general. Is like everybody has, I mean, politically and just like entertainment or whatever. Like everybody is now like all about these announcements and like all about just dropping, and it's just like, it's like this whole thing of, and then everybody's scrambling trying to share the information. So I think in the film you really get glimpses of kind of like what that might be like on steroids in the future, of just like everybody getting this message, but it's so huge. Like the scale of it is just kind of like, when I'm watching the film, kind of endorse the actors. You know what I mean? To a point where it's almost like you feel like kind of helpless. So I mean, I kind of see like that's really like the way direction media's got to go in my eyes, as far as just like the scale of it and how it kind of, I don't know, like kind of seeps and kind of takes over all our lives if we're not careful. You know what I mean? Like as far as like how much time it takes out of our lives, and the importance we put on it, whatever the message is.
yeah. And what I also really enjoyed was the fact that you touch on so many issues, but not in a way that like it's just a way that like makes you think and want to discuss those issues after. And in particular, the sort of media indoctrination, and then just how that even impacts families, where
Oh yeah,
families are, um,
divided. Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, families are divided, where you see that young girl and her mother having this fight over like, they're fighting,
Ideas. Yeah,
yeah, over ideas. And I'm thinking like,
yeah.
oh my God, like that's happening more and
That's us.
more. And I never used to talk to my family about that kind of stuff.
Exactly. It wasn't even like it's same with me. Like I
Yeah.
think everyone is dealing with it on a level. And again, like I tried in the film to try to get beyond like just like, you know, skin color and background, and just like really get to the really, I feel like, meat of like the ideas is really none of that. Like I think all of us in our own kind of microcosms and like worlds are dealing with like this kind of transitional period where everybody's kind of like really trying to make sense of, well, what do I believe in, and what do I want to fight for? Like, what do I want to get behind, and what am I gonna put my energy behind, whatever that is. And I feel like I love the movie because of that. And again, like the actors, I think did a phenomenal job of really just
Yeah.
going there and really, it's just like it feels like you're just like a fly on the wall. And it's like when you watching the movie, you just like, it's I don't I just I'm very proud of how it came together, and I was really blessed to work with such an amazing group of people to bring it to life on such constraints that we had. We were trying to make it happen.
Well, I want to say also you had children in your movie, right? There's
Mhm.
kids, which they say kids are
Kids
difficult.
and animals.
But they,
Stay away from kids and animals. Is like
yeah,
what.
yeah, yeah, kids and animals. But like no, but like you pulled it off so well. And what's really great about the acting in it, it didn't feel like acting. I mean, that's the whole thing. They didn't feel like they were movie people doing movie people kind of
Yeah.
thing. It almost parts of it had like a documentary feel, which actually made it more haunting. I feel like, especially in particular, the scenes of violence, like
Hmm.
I thought were just incredibly well pulled off. Well, I'm
Thank you.
curious. I'm curious how people have responded to the film, because there's some very confrontational ideas, and there's also, and you're setting it in this science fiction realm. But
Mhm.
as we both know, from Ray Bradbury and many of the great sci-fi, like it's not about what it's about. It's about
Right, right, right.
so how are people responding?
People are responding, I think, in a fantastic way. It's for it to be like so. I feel like kind of like left field of like where entertainment is trying to like shove down our throats right now, and I think like just like the state of cinema in general, like I feel like all the ideas are underground. All the ideas are like not on the TV or not while you're scrolling. Like you're not gonna see those. Where I feel like is there used to be like individuality and idea and thought used to be championed, but now it's almost to me like the exact opposite. It's like this whole kind of assembly line of thing, probably more so like people fear of investment or trying to keep everything like with the most return or like the less chances to take, I think is the best. But people have been responding, I feel like in a, in a good way. And I feel like as far as anything they can compare it to, I feel like we were going through and reading comments on like Amazon and people were saying like thought provoking, nail biting. This one woman said that her and her husband fell asleep. But I feel like if you're going into the film looking for like shoot 'em up and you're looking for me to tell you what to think, it's not the film for you because it's going to force you to engage. And I feel like if you don't want to, you're not gonna enjoy it because it's so many ideas and it's unless you're willing to like really go there as far as like the ideas and entertaining certain things just within your own self, I feel like you're going to have a hard time with it because it's not going to tell you what to think. It's not at the end of the movie, it's not telling you this is what it is. It really leaves it open for individuals interpretation. I feel like good art does that. I'm saying that in the most humble way possible.
Well, I
But
mean, you nailed it. You're not telling the audience exactly what to think, and I think that's because I think that's more powerful, right? Like that's more the way I think to win hearts and minds is by
Mhm,
allowing people to make their own decisions about
mhm.
how to think about something. Whereas you pointed out, mainstream media is like, well, here's what we want people to think.
Yeah, this is what we want you to think, and this is what you need to get behind. And I have such a problem with that because I feel like that's not reality. Like most
Yeah.
people might have a little give and take on a topic. They're not going to be all in on one particular thing. Like they might like aspects of it, but you can miss me on that part. I really, I really don't
Right.
agree with this part. I mean, I'm okay with you having the freedom, but just like just let me have like how And I feel
Yeah.
like most people in life are like that. It's not a black and white thing. It's a lot of gray, especially with a lot of topics we're dealing with right now. It's like it's not an easy fix, and I feel like in the film, I was much more interested in this opening up discussion for those things, for the gray area, and not necessarily trying to victimize or make someone a villain on an idea. In this film, I feel like the villain is an idea. It's not necessarily an individual. Their ideas, their perspectives, and I feel like that's the type of movies and films that I want to make. Like I'm just super not interested in like, and there's nothing wrong with popcorn movies. Sometimes you just want to pop something on and just laugh and just forget about it and not think. And I'm not saying I'm anti that, but I just I find it more challenging and a lot more fun to try to make a film that embodies those conversations that we have when people are not watching. Like if you're with your brother, or you're with your sister, or with your mom, or your step parents, or whatever, and you just all of a sudden end up having this conversation that you wish you could record and post because you're like, this is cool. Like this is what's dope. You know what I mean? Like this is what we want to see, but you're not going to because it's just, I feel like just those moments, it's hard to capture those moments. And hopefully in the film we kind of did. We kind of tried to capture it and kind of put it in a way that was still entertaining. I mean, nobody wants to watch paint dry. It's still entertaining, but it still has something for people to take away from as well.
Well, it's a movie that I think if that couple had not fallen asleep, although I'd say it's dangerous if you're going to fall asleep in a movie that's about
Don't do
dreams.
it on this movie.
I mean, okay,
Don't tell them what you're dreaming about.
but I just love that, you know, you're exploring ideas without presenting necessarily any answers, but topics that are relevant and worth discussion. The movie is God of Dreams is on Amazon Prime right now, so you can see
Absolutely.
it on Prime. And Jurian Isabelle is a filmmaker to watch. I
Thank
feel
you, sir.
like I'm excited to see what you do next
Oh,
because
got a couple of things. You're gonna love
okay, good. Okay, well, keep us
them.
but this is great. Jurian, it's been a pleasure having you on the Film Threat podcast. Where can people reach you or your production company or whatnot? Where can people find you on social media?
Okay, find us on Instagram. If you're an IG person, you can look me up on the lower third, Jurian Isabelle. I'll pop up, or Isabelle Studios. We'll pop up on there. If you're into websites, you can you can visit isabellestudios.com, which I love a good website. And pretty much if you put my name in, like I kind of pop up. Make sure you guys check out the movie on Amazon Prime. Leave a review if you stay awake, and just like let's let's share and kind of forge a new direction in cinema as far as independent, because really, I feel like the only ones that are going to do it. Nobody's going to invest their $1 million home on a lucid idea. So I feel like if it's any arena that's going to be able to do it, I feel like the independent realm is probably going to be the best bet.
I think so too. I really think this is a new golden age for independent film and for independent creators to step up and deliver real experiences that I think will connect with audiences. So congratulations on God of Dreams, Jurian. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.